conference with the new hit band, The3Annas, to promote their new single, Everything But the Band.
I've got a few questions that I'm going to start with, and then we'll open it up to some further questions from everyone else. So first of all, I wanted to just say thanks for coming along, and I wondered if you. I'm just going to start with like let me just alter that a little bit. Just a question, just for people who are not that familiar with your work so far. Could you just talk a little bit about this new genre of work that you're working in, what it's called and how you would like to define it, and yeah, maybe we can expand on that afterwards. Is that a good place to start?
The genre that we work with is called rancid, and it's sort of like remixes and appropriation of pre-made work, especially of underground bands that might not get the exposure otherwise because we're a lot more famous than they are.
In that way, I like to think it's kind of mainstream, but kind of alternative mainstream.
You don't really have to go far to listen to it, really. Yeah. There's much available.
Okay, thanks. I've got a few questions that I planned out here. I just wondered if you could speak to about the new single "Everything But the Band." Is the title of the track anything to do with your current status as a band that invites others in to join, that has a kind of rotatory kind of, artists come in, they stay, they go, then they get replaced by other artists and other people, and it keeps on getting moved around. Is that anything to do with the title?
I'd like to say no. I'd like to say it's all about me, actually. I think me as Middle Anna, it is actually all about me, not about the other bands.
Yeah, I mean, on some kind of level, it's about the exhibition. It's like we are exhibiting other bands. I know, yeah. I mean, we've been to so many biennials. Like, we've been performing in biennials for quite a while. Biennials just love us coming and performing. They love to hear our music, and I think it's because they kind of put us on exhibition. It's all to do with exhibition. Anything, Anna?
I think everything but the band is because everything is important to us except the people actually making the music, because in our hearts we're all Annas. You pick up that instrument and you come record with us, you're one of us. You listen to our music, you're one of us. You look at us, you're one of us.
So the kind of idea of Anna then is that anyone can be an Anna, anyone can be part of your band, or?
I like to think that there's not just 3 Annas, there's 7 million Annas. Everyone on this planet is an Anna at heart.
I think one of the problems though is fan riot.
There isn't, but you could come a bit closer. That's unfortunate. Yeah. Let me just check. Can people? I'm just going to check in with the general public. Can everyone hear? You might have to come in a little bit closer. And that would be great, actually, because we're having a bit of a conversation. If you want to come in a bit closer, that might help.
Sorry, Anna. I mean,
if you want to go on, yeah, go on. Sorry.
I just want to say that I hate the word public. Can we always talk about intimate public when we talk about talking with an audience? I think it's quite important.
Okay. I wanted to go back to what we were talking about earlier. About this idea of Anna as anyone could be an Anna. You said if you look at someone, then all of a sudden they're an Anna too. I wonder if you can expand on that, and also the kind of number 3, which is a reoccurring emblem in your work. Number 3. three. Yeah?
Yeah, I might say something first, that's right. I mean, I think I just want to talk about the kind of maybe the tensions between what we do and also with Fan Riot Records, because Fan Riot Records find it difficult that we sort of have a transient audience that actually participates with our music. You know, like Anna said, anyone picks up a triangle and they're in the band, and that's really hard for our record company still to realise. I suppose maybe it just affects the distribution, like modes of distribution that they can do.
And the use of the number 3 all comes around triangles and how triangles are perfect. All of their angles add up to 180 degrees, and we've got the many trinities. We've got past, present, future. We've got the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. Everything works in 3s. So even though everyone is an Anna, the 3 of us, it's like we've started a movement, and 3 is the movement.
That might be a good time to ask something about another question about your fans and these kind of emblems. You've been really great at bringing up, you know, like you just did the what do you call this again? I forgot the triad. So you do the Anna triad, and like everyone kind of everyone participates in a way, and working with these symbols that you work with. I know that the people have talked about you guys having relations with the Illuminati and stuff like that, and I don't know whether that is just like journalists and press, or whether that is something that those kind of symbols are things that you think are useful for, you know, what you do. How do they function in your work? How do symbols function in your work?
Well, I think it's totally sort of institutional. Like, I think that's kind of what we are still. Like, we are kind of institutional. I think like the way our symbols works, it really kind of plays on that.
I think the problem is perhaps we've become institutionalised by our own success, and I think that's creating a problem. Do you know what you think?
I think we're trying to promote a sort of post-alphabet language, sort of based on hieroglyphics and emoji. That everything is symbolic, that we don't have to speak the same language to be able to communicate with each other. We all know what this means.
Makes sense. I suppose I'm trying to make a little bit of a jump between symbolism and now your kind of like dance routines, because I know that also the triad and the triangle, you guys are in all your like video works that go along. I know you like to call them video works rather than music videos. All your video works that go along with your songs and your tracks always feature kind of quite high speed dance routines, often involving kind of three steps routines. Do you want to talk a little bit about the role of dance in your work?
I think actually the steps speak for themselves generally.
Well, I was always really inspired by the triadic ballet, which is kind of triads, it's 3 things. Like I think some of like the kind of clashes of music kind of really, I don't know, they just sort of do it for me. But I always think of our dance kind of routines as more like a ballet, but just not for people who watch ballet.
I think they add a layer of physicality to the work that doesn't exist because we don't have physical records. Everything is MP3 and based on our SoundCloud page. So the dance routine gives our audience something physical to connect with.
Okay, that makes sense. Could you remind us what was your SoundCloud again, just for those?
SoundCloud.com/fan-riot-records.
Okay, great, thanks. So is there, I mean, you said you've got a relationship to dance. Is there one of you that has like more of a background in dance and movement, or is it something that you kind of share?
I used to do a lot of Scottish dancing, you know, a bit of a Highland fling, and I kind of integrated it in. But you know, they weren't really up for it, so you know, it kind of died a death. And you know, it's kind of one of my creative. Well, I'm quite upset about it, really, actually. But I don't know what you think about it.
Where do you draw your inspiration from in terms of your look? Are there other artists in terms of the kind of visuals, which seem to be something that you're working with? Who do you draw your inspiration from in terms of visuality?
It's more from movies, really, I'd say, than other artists. Like, I'm trying to think of, like, I really like Free Willy, and the fact that, like, I really love the kind of costume design for the fish, you know, wrapped in really nice newspaper.
We use the colours from Free Willy in our work, but then I think the sort of emotional message that comes across in our outfits, sort of based more on Philadelphia, starring Tom Hanks.
I agree.
Yeah. I know these are questions. I'm trying to keep away from the food questions and from the cereal question.
Yeah, don't throw them.
Because I know in all the interviews people always ask you what is your favourite cereal, and I'm not going to do that today. So I'm going to ask you some more kind of technical questions around the quality of your music, and I want to bring in this word atmosphere, and for you to think about. Yeah, I'll just say a little bit about the kind of atmosphere you're interested in creating in your work. And is atmosphere something that...
So can you speak up?
Is atmosphere something that you are working with? And how does your work kind of build into atmosphere, build atmosphere?
What with relationship to what? In the atmosphere? Do you mean, do we build up an atmosphere in our work? Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Yes.
I mean, I'm more kind of more think. I think more than sort of build. Anna, do you want to explain that one?
Our atmosphere is that we have no atmosphere. We're going for a very sort of black and white normcore sort of feeling.
I mean, somebody used the kind of term of the vacuum cleaner, the kind of the sucking of atmospheres away in terms of like that being the experience of your music, this kind of vacuum sucking away of any form of atmosphere in order to just leave a kind of vibrating shell
That sort of comment is what inspired us to do our EP of Muzak remixes, the sort of elevator remixes. No Atmosphere, the EP.
Okay, I just want to, before we maybe open it up to some of the other people, we've got some questions that have come through on the Twitter as well, from some fans. Basically, a few fans want to know where you're touring to next, where are you going to be playing next, basically?
We're performing the Radio 6 arena here at Latitude, Sunday morning, 10 a.m.
Next, we thought we'd go to Builth in Wales.
And then we're kind of thinking about the next place. We're so busy at the moment. It's really hard to know.